Yay. Now I see your comments. Hey, thank you for all the sound is good. Hi, Time to Shine. Louise, great to see you. Mary Jo, Kelly. Oh, Janet, great to see you. I was going to send you a note and then I ran out of time. Yeah, we're not doing personal questions on the live stream, but join me on the third Saturday of July for my Zoom call. That's for all of the tribe members, and I do personal questions there. So we'll have time to get to that before you go to your brother's ceremony. And I'm so sorry to hear about that. It's a never an easy thing to lose somebody you love, but in times of COVID, it's just got to be horrendous. Storm Cloud, so glad you could be here. Okay, great. So sound is good. So what questions do you guys have? Lay them on me. Because Metatron has been going crazy with the questions and answers and all kinds of stuff about what's to come. So it's like it's a big bunch of stuff coming. We've been warned that July is going to be bumpy. And the cool thing about that is it's not to engender fear, worry, concern, any of that kind of thing. It's really about letting us know that it's going to be bumpy. So prepare, get your soul as aligned as you can, get centered, be in that state of gratitude and joy, looking for the magic in every day, because that will help you to have that solid foundation from which you can handle whatever comes along that's going to be bumpy. Recently I got a reading with Whimsy. I think I mentioned that to you guys on another call, or maybe I told you about it in email. I'm losing track. There's so much stuff going on. But I got the Tower card, which really freaked me out because, when I watch all of my favorite tarot readers and they get these Tower cards, they get all excited because it means something bad's going to happen. And the last time I got a Tower card when I was doing my own readings is my barn collapsed. It's like, okay, that's enough to make you worry when you get a Tower card, right? So after Whimsy got that for me, and we talked about some of the things that might be happening, and I did some meditation to think about, okay, what can I do to mitigate this? Because I know from what I've been taught that what I need to do is focus, not worry about it, do everything I can to stay balanced, to, take action when I'm inspired. And after I did that for a few days, about a week later, I think it was, I tested the cards very tentatively. I did not get a tower. They looked better, like, things were balancing out. So I'm praying that whatever it was has been sideswiped and out of the picture for the time being. But that same concept follows through for what Metatron is telling us about July. It doesn't have to be a disaster. There's going to be some bumps, some challenges, but knowing that, we can prepare, we can make sure that we've done all of our due diligence to take care of our own needs and whatever's happening in our lives. So we can be prepared to have strong sea legs whenever those big bumps hit us in the sea. So let's see. Any questions? Time to shine. You don't have any questions. Wow. Okay. No questions? Gosh. Well, I can just keep, pattering all night long because there's so much happening. The next news I can share with you is the book that I've been telling you about in the emails, the 21-day meditation challenge. The actual title of the book is Path to Hearing Your Angels and Guides. And then the subtitle is 21-day meditation challenge. And this is the one I've been telling you about since January when I got the assignment. And it's taken me this long to put all the pieces together and to find everything I needed to craft that book in a way that it would be the most useful to you. Because the whole point is by taking this challenge, doing your diligence, following day by day, you are expanding your ability to connect with your angels and guides. So that's what it's all about. And right now we're in a time where we need to do that more than we ever have before. It's so, so important. So that's what's coming up soon. And you'll be hearing more about that as it gets ready for publish. I'm looking at probably publishing in August because my friend Melinda there's got a book coming out in July. So we want to give her some space for that. And I'll be letting you know more about that as the publish date comes up. So feels like August is probably the good time to do that. And once the book is released, then what I'm going to do is create a private Facebook group so that we can get together there and talk about the experiences that you're having going through the process, questions that you have, making sure that everybody gets the maximum benefit from it, because that's what it's all about. It's like one of us gets some information, we share it with another, we help each other out so that we can all expand together and get through this thing faster and easier, because we know there's a lot on the way. So I see Luis, one of the healers that you follow, shared that the councils have been disbanded and given new roles because of the changes in the universe at this time. I haven't heard a thing about that, Luis, but let me just ask and see. So the councils disbanded. So can you tell us anything about councils being disbanded because of this great shift that's going on? Is there anything there that would be helpful for us to know? Yeah, I'm seeing like these wispy clouds and this flurry of activity, like pushing desks around and rearranging. It's happening rapidly. And so they're kind of scrambling to stay ahead of it because they need to be ahead of it, of course, so that they can guide us. So, disbanded, is that the right word to apply? Is it No, it's not disbanded, Louise. It's more like reorganized into more of, yeah, that's the word. Reorganized into more effective groupings so that they can assist us. And truly, that's happening all the time. They're always making adjustments the same way that they tell us to make adjustments. When you get new information, you learn something new, you're always shifting and adjusting, moving forward, as are the angels and guides. So nothing to worry about there if you were worried, but they're still on the job. So we don't have to be concerned about that at all. In fact, they're going to be more effective and probably even more engaged with us than ever before, which again is why it's so important to get this book out about the path to hearing your angels and guides. So let me know, Luis, if that helps, or if you've got more that you want to ask about that. Melinda asks, is it bumpy like a general thing such as weather or economy, or personal? And the answer to that, as I understand it now, Melinda, it's both. So when I was getting that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Political? Because that's the first thing that came to my mind with all of the unsteadiness in the political arena right now. Is that what it's about? Or is it about climate change and all the shifts in weather that we're experiencing right now? Because we've been hearing, droughts, fires, hurricanes. Of course, we have these, horrendous temperature swings. So something's going on both on the planet as well as, with political. And then of course there's the rapid acceleration of all the souls on the earth. As they're feeling it and responding to it, they're expanding in their own lives, doing more different, connecting with other people than they have before. All of this change and uproar, which is why that solid foundation for ourself is so important, because you've got that solid foundation so that nothing can shake you. You're going to build that rock of ages under your feet and stand on that so that you can be supported by your angelic and your Akashic team as you go through these challenges. And then you will be able to weather them in a much more secure place. So it's about us being more mindful in our everyday lives, what we can do for ourselves, because what we do for ourselves, of course, ripples out to the entire world, which is how we all help each other. So I hope that answers your question, Melinda. Let me know. But it's big, it's global scale, what they're talking about. Janet says being prepared and not putting yourself in jeopardy is always good advice. Yeah, because the angels are telling us over and over and over, take care of you first. You've got to be in a position of strength, balance, clarity of vision, so that you can take care of yourself, be in a place of strength to help others. And, if you can imagine, like we're adrift on a ship in stormy seas, you've got to be well, not seasick. You've got to have strong legs and strong arms so that you can hold on to other people and support them as they wobble about, because there's going to be a lot of shifting platforms and seas. It's that kind of an energy that I'm feeling. Melinda, can you explain the councils, or is it groups of angels like we would think of politicians? I don't know much about it. Let me just see if I can get anything on that. So, can you share a little bit about these councils? What are they? What I'm seeing, Melinda, is they're kind of like boards, like corporations have boards and schools have boards. So it's a group of people that have been selected or volunteered. These would be um, higher evolved beings, enlightened masters, teachers. They're put on these boards because they work at the higher dimensions. They've got a greater scope of knowledge and understanding of what's going on. They are seeing forwards, backwards, present, all of that. They've got access to all that information. So calling upon all that information, they are a solid foundation of their own, each one of them. And there are multiple ones because they each have an area of focus. Like I've been taught about, the Galactic Council. There's a Galactic Unification Council. There is a council for each of the planets. There's the Divine Feminine Council. There's probably a Divine Masculine council. So specialties, if that makes sense. So probably there's at least one that's in charge of overseeing all of the shifts and expansion on Earth right now. Then passing that information down to the next layer of guides and angels so that they will be up to date and can help us. That's kind of the big picture that I'm getting right now. Louise, you said that's enough for now. Disbanded is not the right word. It's more like change or reassembling. Yeah, that's the way I see it. Because some of them have been on these same councils for probably hundreds of years. So moving things around occasionally is a good thing to get some fresh insight and perspective. Plus, new ones are coming along who have maybe graduated to those higher levels and they're ready to step up and be of service. So yeah, it's like here, we're moving up the levels. And Louise said the councils are for Council of 12, Council of Time, guides that guide humanity. Yeah, that sounds right. Although I haven't delved into that. It may come up sometime in my studies, but so far that's not something I've really studied about. Harry's mom says that she's hearing readers talking about the need to stockpile food, water, and things. And is there something coming up that will require that? Let me just ask that, Harry's mom, to be sure. So, is there something coming up in the not too distant future on Earth that would cause us to need to do prepping to stockpile food and water? I'm getting a yes on that, Harry's mom. So can you elaborate a little bit? Is it going to be a long-term thing? Like more than a few months? No, I'm feeling like it's going to be kind of short bursts in different parts of the world. Even it's not going to be everybody at once hit with the same thing either, because there's like this rolling energy on the planet that is shifting things around. So like one area might get hit with the hurricanes, and then in that case they need to be prepared, which they've always needed to be. It's just at a higher level of urgency right now. So yeah, you're going to have your fresh water and your stockpile of staple food, and probably a generator if you can get your hands on one. So taking care of yourselves in that fashion, maybe banding together with your neighbors, supporting each other. There's always that, it's not just because we're shifting. We've always needed to do that in times of duress. So now it's just amped up a level or two, and it would be wise for us to do that. Like, where I grew up in northwestern Ohio, we always got snowed in every winter. So it was just normal for us to keep certain staples on hand all of the time. So I've always done that. It's just a normal part of life. People who live maybe in urban areas who are used to running out to the corner store whenever they need something haven't been trained to do that. So it's maybe bringing that awareness to everybody that just be sensible and have those dry goods on hand that you're going to need. Maybe some powdered milk if you're going to need it, that kind of thing. Some canned goods, whatever you're going to need to get you through 2 or 3 weeks. And, the water supplies, the clean water, that's so important. The people who've gone through these crises where they can't get fresh water, and all of a sudden they realize, wow, no fresh water means no flushing the toilet. It means not bathing the way you normally would. It means not washing your dishes even. It really changes things. We're lucky where we live because we've got a pond. So, if we need, even in the winter, if we need water to flush the toilet, we can just go out and bring a bucket from the pond. So, we have that ability, but not everybody does. So, it's being conscious of what your limitations are, finding ways to accommodate those things so that you will be prepared and it will be easier for you to get through whatever the crisis is. But I'm not getting this long term. It's probably just going to be like rolling blackouts and that kind of thing. So it'll last for some short period of time, and then the the authorities, whomever comes in, Red Cross, to help out with supplies. But it's always wise to take care of ourselves, to be prepared for that, and then if we've got extra, to help our neighbors. I hope that answers your question, Harry's mom. Thanks for asking. So, time to shine. You're getting a message from the angel cards. Stay away from drama and gossip. Yeah, I mean, I think that's always wise, because when you get into that drama and gossip, it's a negative energy. And it's almost like, even though you're not consciously wishing bad on somebody, you kind of are. I remember during election time, my husband and I are very into following politics. And, when the 2016 election was going on, oh my gosh, we'd get in the car to go to the bus in the morning and we'd just be like this about the politics. One morning we hit a deer and it was like, and she ran out and hit us. We didn't hit her. She came out of nowhere, out of the fog, and just slammed into the side of the car. And it was like, whoa, that's a wake up call. We got to stop talking about this in the car. I mean, really should take it down a notch anyway, but it wasn't a wise thing to do because we were more attractive to that kind of an eventuality. It was a huge eye opener about being very aware of the words that come out of your mouth and the impact that they can have. And I wouldn't have thought of that before, but experience is a great teacher. So forewarned is forearmed. Watch those words, be mindful. You want to speak kindly and uplifting to yourself and also to others. And it's not about ignoring evil and bad things, because we do need to recognize them, call them out, hold people accountable. That's part of society, but we don't need to obsess about it and talk about it all the time so that we're attracting. That turns us into like this big magnet, and these nails are flying at you, and pretty soon you're going to be filled up with all these nails. So that's kind of what it's about, if that makes sense. Let me know if that helps. Awesome. You guys are having a little chat there. That's cool. So let's see. I lost my place. Yeah, Luis, you've been reading about it in books. Yeah, keep doing that. Keep researching, learning more, because you've got a thirst for that knowledge. And now more than ever is the time to do that, to expand your consciousness. And that's why, actually, starting Thursday, I'm going to be teaching learning to read your Akashic Records, because I believe everybody should be learning to read their own. I mean, yeah, you can come to me and I can do it for you, but how much more empowering is it for you, especially in these crazy times, if you learn to do it yourself? So I'm going to be teaching it. It's 3 consecutive Thursdays starting this coming Thursday. And let me pop a link in for you in case anybody wants to get more information and maybe join me for that course. I haven't taught it since last year because there's just been so much else going on, but it's coming up this week and I don't know when I'll offer it again. So if it's something that interests you, take a look and see what you think. And I'll always be here anyway. Okay. Sorry, you guys, it takes me just a minute to find my place again here on the stream. So, Luis, you're good. Melinda, I think you got your answer. Oh, and Melinda Dutcher, you're here. Welcome. So glad you could join us. And thought change. You got message from a spiritual council calling themselves 7 and 11. That's a cool name. And they said that they were 7 groups of 11 ascended masters and wisdom keepers. Oh, that is goosebumps, Linda. It's like really, really cool. So let's just see. Anything you can tell me about the 7 and 11 groups? Yeah, what I'm getting is they're very specialized rather than some of the more generic councils, like Galactic Unification Council, that's big, massive. Whereas the 7-Elevens can be even more specialized. So it's like going from macro to micro. So anything else that you can share, because that's kind of broad. 7-Eleven. Those are very powerful numbers. So you know that it has deep significance. And I know you know that, Linda. I'm getting this feeling of solemnity, and I'm seeing them dressed in like these dark cloaks and, marching together very quietly, like you might see those secret societies. And that's not to say that there's that dark energy like a secret society would have, but they're conveying that kind of a feeling of the importance, the scope, and the solemnity. So that's the energy that they're trying to let us understand. And that's important because they want us to know that all of this stuff is going on all the time for our behalf that we're not even aware of. So imagine we've got this much understanding of what's going on, and it's so much more vast than that. We're still going to be learning about it for, many lives to come, I'm sure. So hopefully that helps. But what you're saying there, that makes a lot of sense. And I'm just kind of getting validation, and that to understand that it's something that has been going on for a while. They're going to be stepping up their efforts, of course, because of what's going on with our shifting. Here's a question. Let me just ask this. The 7-Eleven group, is this specifically geared towards Earth? Okay, so these are specifically geared towards Earth, Linda, whereas like the Galactic Council and the Divine Feminine, Masculine, all of those, as far as I understand, they are galactic. So they're concerned with many planets and beings, not just Earth. So these 7-Elevens are specific to Earth. And that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? As we're going into this big shift of the planet itself, as well as the lives that are on it. So we would need extra help. Yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for bringing that up. Harry's mom, you're so welcome. Time to shine. Making fun of ourselves bad for our vibration. Well, it is a little bit because, self deprecating humor, if you were to dig down into that, what's really at the bottom of it is self esteem. Because if you really loved and thought well of yourself as creator does, you wouldn't say those things about yourself. And there might be one or two people who do it and really don't mean it. It really is just to be a joke, but the joke's on you. It still has a negative ramification. So the more that you can speak kindly and lovingly to yourself, the better it will be. And this is ultra important right now because of what we're going through. So it's a good habit to get into, and it will take time to shift because, if you've been in the habit of saying, oh, that was stupid, or duh, even that, think about it. That's a negative thing about yourself instead of being uplifting. It's like, oh, now I understand, and I'm going to do it better next time. That has a far better energetic stamp to it than duh. And I've done it too. I'm trying to be more conscious of it as they've talked about it. And, I did mention it in my newsletter on Saturday. So maybe that's where that question came from. But yeah, it's something that's come up. And so when it comes up for me, then I share it with you because that's how it works. I'm supposed to share with you the teachings that I get. Louise, is it true the planet called Nibiru is already in the solar system and it's one of the catalysts for new Earth? Not a clue, but let me ask. So Nibiru, is that a planet? First of all, yes, it is a planet. Is it in the same solar system presently as Earth? Getting a no on that. Will it be coming to the Earth solar system? Is that a truth? I get a yes on that, Louise. So, yeah. All right. So, can you give us an idea of timeline? Is it going to be in like the next decade? Longer than that? Longer. Okay. So, like more than 50 years? Less than 50 years, more than 10 years. All right, so more than 25 years. Yeah, more than 25 years. All right. More than 40? More than 30? I'm getting somewhere around 36, Louise. So I know that's something really interesting to watch for and to read about and see if the scientists have anything to say about that. I don't know. Have you read anything from any of the scientists about it? That would be interesting to find out. Time to shine. You're so welcome. Melinda, you're welcome. Kimberly, oh, thank you. Yeah, Kimberly was in my course before and superstar student. So awesome to have you there. And Melinda, you're glad you took it. Yeah, me too. It was such an awesome class. We had such a great time, and we've had these amazing conversations ever since as we further extend our understanding and just explore deeper and deeper levels of ourselves, because that informs upon everything as we're all learning more about ourselves, who we are, why we're here, and layers upon layers of understanding and how it shifts the choices that you make, the feelings and experiences that you have. It just touches on everything. It's just a marvel, and it never ends. That's what's really amazing. I was telling the class, it's probably been about 8 years ago since I've had my reading and learned about my gifts from the Akashic Records, and I'm still learning new things. I'll get new realizations all the time. It's like you've got all these puzzle pieces and you're over time assembling them, because this one leads to understanding something else, and then another piece comes in. Your guides are bringing stuff in all the time, and you're just slowly putting it all together as you're building this massive puzzle that is you, and understanding yourself at that deeper level. So it's just marvelous. Rach Bennett, curious to know if you own any crystals and information about how best to work with them. Yeah, I do. So there are crystals here on my dowsing necklace, and I keep this amethyst by my desk all the time. I don't work with them a lot. I like having them around. Once in a while, I'll just be inspired to get them out and set them up when I'm doing some work. If I'm doing a clearing for somebody, for instance, I might be inspired to get them out and set them up in some pattern that makes sense at the time. And I just feel like they add a little bit of an extra oomph to whatever it is I'm doing. But certainly not actively using them on a daily basis like a lot of people are. So let me know if that answers your question. Oh, and you ask how best to work with them. I do it intuitively. Now, you can read about them, see what other people are doing. What I liked about doing it intuitively is you're going to feel your way into what's best for you, because we talk about this in my class, Learning to Read Your Akashic Records, since we're dowsing and a lot of us use crystals to dowse, is that there's a lot of rules that you'll hear in the world about how you're supposed to treat them, what you're supposed to do with them. And because my soul is wired to be a rule breaker, I usually start out doing the way people have instructed me. Like when I started out doing the readings, you were supposed to take your crystal and cleanse it. And that could mean putting it in salt for 24 hours. It could mean putting it under the moon, all these different things you may have heard about. And I did that with the first one. You're also supposed to program every pendulum. And I found out over time, none of those things mattered to me anyway. I haven't cleansed another one since then. I don't feel a need to cleanse them. If I feel the need, I will, but right now I don't. I pick up any particular object that's available to do my dowsing with, and I expect it to behave in the way that all my other pendulums behave. Yes is like nodding my head up and down, and no is like going no. And if it's in between, it just goes in a circle. Sometimes it'll stop, but all my pendulums behave that way, even if I pick up a set of car keys and use this pendulum, because I believe that that's going to be true. I don't believe that I need to go do anything special with them. So the thing that I want you to understand, you make those rules for yourself. You can start out following somebody else, see how it feels to you. If it feels good, great, keep doing it. But if at some point you start to expand into an area where it just doesn't feel necessary to you anymore, Follow your own intuition. That's a really wonderful practice to get into, because the more you do that, the more you tune into your solar plexus, listen to your gut, what your intuition is telling you, the more you will rely on it and listen to it. And then at those really important times, you'll be able to hear it when it's giving you information. So that's always a good thing to expand upon. Hope that helps. Looking, trying to find you again. Hi, Barb. Welcome. Beverly. Great to have you here. Yeah, I'm glad you made it live. Linda, you're so welcome. Janet asks about 11s and 1s. Does that have meaning? Yeah, it really does. Those are signs from your angels. When I see numbers like that, like the other night, I just happened to look up and I saw 1222. And it just hit me in that moment. I need to go look that up. That's important. And oh my gosh, was it important? Forget what it was now. I wrote it down. But there's a site that I like to go to. It's Joanne Sacred Angel Scribes, something like that. And you can look up all those numbers. It's got all the information there for you. So even if it's not all numbers repeating, like mine was 1222, let's say that it's 1415. And for some reason, it catches your attention. You know, we see numbers all the time. They don't all catch our attention. It's when they catch your attention that you need to take action. Go look it up, see what the message is, because almost always it is a message. And you know what? Even if it wasn't, so what? You're tuning in, you're being aware. Do that anyway. If there's any doubt at all, err on the side of it being a message from your guides. Go find out what's about and get more information, then act upon it, and you'll get more. But yeah, they happen all the time. And it's not just numbers, Janet. It can be like, I see a lot of wildlife. And last week, I think it was, I'm driving into town and I see 3 turkey vultures sitting in the yard of this VFW. You don't see that every day. I don't think I've ever seen turkey vultures live and in person. So I noticed it. I thought, oh, something to look up there. On my way back, there were at least a dozen. And I'm thinking, wow, they got their own baseball team there, which is a weird thing to think. So I think there's more attached to that. And I have to find some time to go investigate and see what that's all about. But stuff like that, that's just weird, and you notice it. For whatever reason, your eyes are drawn to it. It connects with your brain. In that moment that that happens, make the next connection with your brain. Oh, that's my guides. I need to go investigate this, look up the symbolism, find out what's going on, because there's probably a bigger message there. So, yeah, it happens in all kinds of things. It doesn't have to be animals, it can be just something that catches your attention out of the ordinary that you wouldn't normally notice. That's what you're looking for. Time to shine, you're being mindful of self talk. Oh, I'm so glad. It's so, so important. And help other people to understand that. You know, it's like you get it, and then you share it with your neighbor, and they share it with their neighbor. And we get this geometric progression across the land, because we all start waking up and taking more proactive action on our own behalfs and that of others. That's how we're going to usher in this new golden age, one person at a time, sharing with another, which is why I'm here and why so many other people are out there making videos and live streaming and sharing what we've learned, because it needs to get out there ASAP and spread so that we can get through all of the crap that's coming our way and step into the new golden age sooner, because the timing is up to us. The more of us that get on board, the sooner we do that and shift the energy of the planet, the sooner we step into that age. Right now, we just haven't reached critical mass of numbers to do that. So I'm in a hurry. I'd like to see it in this lifetime. You probably would too. So in each day, be conscious of what you can do to contribute to this grand collective that we're expanding this knowledge to. And that will make all the difference. It will be so wonderful and so exciting. And yeah, let's do that sooner than later. I'd love to have our kids enjoy it for a while. It would be really a beautiful gift to them. Time to shine. Oh, I saw that. Okay, Harry's mom. My Akashic Records class. It is 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And let me paste the link for you again, because all that information is on the page. If you can't make it live, don't worry, because it is recorded. And we will have a private group that will be meeting sharing, practicing, because the thing about this, it takes a lot of practice. You are building a muscle, you are connecting with your guides. So the more you can practice and build your confidence, because that's a lot of it, building your confidence. So as we practice that in the group, like what we did last time was really cool. Somebody would go out and they would look up the gifts of some of their family or friends or whatever, but they weren't sure they got the right answer. And that's very normal in the beginning. You're doubting your results. So then they could bring it back to the group and ask either, others in the group or me to verify their results. And we were all happy to do that. I'm always happy to do that for people, because when you get validation that your results were correct, it builds your confidence step by step by step until you are ready to soar and go do this on your own with confidence that most of the time you're getting the right answer. Now, the caveat, of course, and you'll hear a lot of people say this, is that even the best psychics are only right about 80% of the time. There are factors that can interfere with our results. Like during the election, I was dowsing to see if Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell were going to get reelected, because I really didn't want them to. And I got they were both going to be defeated. But you know what? They won. And I'm like scratching my head. How could I be wrong on that? Because I tested it so many times. It felt like they were going to be defeated. And then I realized after the fact what was wrong with my question. I did not ask who was going to be seated, because I think they cheated. And I think that will come out. I could still be totally wrong. It could just be that, my emotions got involved and I wanted that outcome so badly. But maybe not, maybe it's because I didn't ask the question precisely enough. And that's something we talk about in the class too, because the way you word your question will impact your results. So there's also this learning curve about how to ask the question in the very best way. And you're always going to be testing and learning and refining, just like I just learned that lesson about making sure that I ask who gets seated, not who gets elected, because they could be two different things. Sheila, thank you for coming. What a lovely surprise. So delighted to see you. You guys, Celtic Tarot Sheila. If you haven't been to her channel, you need to go. She is amazing. I adore her. How does my dowsing crystal work? Stormcloud asks. Well, this amazing guy makes this custom jewelry, and I just happened to see this when I was in the shop. He imbued it with really amazing, beautiful energy. When I found this thing, it's got, two ends. I could not stop touching it. I'm just running my hands over it all night long. There's something about it. It's very magical. So I like to use it a lot when I'm doing classes. But really all it works is, it's strung on this chain, and I just, hold it up and I let it go. You can see it's just hanging over my thumb. I hope you can see that. And I'm not directing it. We talk about this a lot in the class because there's a whole technique to learning how to do this, but you are not consciously moving this thing. It is moving from the energy that's coming down from you. But I'm always intending to get the information from the Akashic Records. So that's another piece of it, and I'll teach you about all that as well. But it's like my intention is to get the truth from the records, and the pendulum just gives me the answers. So it's a quick way to get information, because yeah, I could just ask and I could wait quietly for them to give me the information, but sometimes I just want a quick answer, and it's way faster to go through and ask these yes and no questions, because that's what you do with the pendulum. It's yes and no questions. So that's why you have to word it just precisely to get those yes and no questions. So like if you were here a few minutes ago when I was asking about the planet Nibiru and I was trying to find out when we could expect it to enter Earth's solar system, I just picked a bunch of numbers and started going through trying to find out, is it less than, is it more than, until I honed in on it. And as I honed in on it, the number 36 just popped into my head. So then I knew I was there. But it would have taken me far longer to get to that answer had I not been dowsing. And something else we talk in the class is you don't always have to use a pendulum. You can use your body. You can hold things in front of your solar plexus. You can body douse and just ask if it's a yes or no. If it's a yes, you lean forward. If it's a no, you lean back. And if you just kind of move in place, it's a non-committal. So yeah, you can do that. You can use your fingers. A lot of people do this method where, if it sticks and it's you don't break through easily, that's a yes. If it breaks through easily, it's a no. But the trick about that, this one was really hard, I think, for a lot of people to learn, because you're thinking, oh, I got to hold my fingers really hard so that I can't break it. No, it's not that. You're looking for the difference between static, sticky, and flow. So if I pull just gently and it doesn't break, that's a yes. If I pull gently and it just easily opens, that's a no. So, we go through a lot of different ways of dowsing. You can blink douse with your eyes. There's tons of ways to do it, and it's a lot of fun. What I like about it is just very empowering, because it's giving you more tools to get information in your life that will help you. And that's really what it's all about. Hope that answers your question. Let me know if you need more. So, Melinda, every day, oh, I just lost you. Where'd you go? Something new to learn and evolve into. It's great to bounce things. Yeah. Yeah, Melinda came in not knowing how to douse at all. And it's just so fun and empowering. And the thing about it is, you're out and about somewhere and you want to douse a quick question and you don't have anything. You can use your fingers, right? You can, it's when you use your fingers, it's really like applied kinesiology. It's like, when you hold your arm out and you're looking for strong or weak. Same concept. You can do that with your fingers as well. So you could say, if it holds strong, that's a yes. And if it goes down, it's a no. So that's another way of using your fingers. You've always got your hands with you. So you can do that as well. Yeah. It's just fun. It makes life more magical. That's one of the fun things I like about it anyway. Louise, that planet comes every 36,000 years, and the magnetic field disrupts Earth's field, causing global weather catastrophes. Interesting. So, yeah, I've never heard about it, but what I'm getting right now is 36 years. And the thing about that, Louise, and for everybody, is when we ask a question that involves future events, the answer we get today is what's true based upon today's circumstances. And this is important to understand, because a lot of people will ask questions about their own futures. So it's based upon where you're at now, choices that you've made now, and things that are aligned for you now, because it's coming from your records. And based upon what they see and project for you now, that's the answer. But caveat is, you or other people involved could make different choices than your guides thought you were going to make. You make a detour, all of a sudden they got to scramble now and reroute and fix things, so that can change the results. So it's always dependent upon choices that you make in the interim, which is really a marvelous thing, because just like I was talking about the tower earlier, knowing that you got that tower, that something foreboding might be on the way, so you just get more present in the moment and you make better choices, very conscious choices, so that you might miss that tower moment. You might mitigate it or have it disappear entirely, because you've shifted, you've made new choices. So that's gone out of your possibilities in that short-term period. So we always have those choices, and that is the most powerful thing that we have as sovereign souls, our choices. If things are not going right in your life, look around and make some new choices. That will help you tremendously. Time to shine, spiritual alchemy. Um, I don't really know. I will let Linda explain that to you. Linda, if you're still here and you want to pop a link to your group in there so that Time to Shine can pop in and see what it's all about, because that's Thought Change, Linda's group, and that's her moniker. So I'm part of that group and I love it. It's very metaphysical, but I don't really know what it means. I think it's kind of like magical, but if I were to give you a definition, no, I really can't do that. Stormcloud, you like the oddities being messages. Yeah. Because, as I said in that video the other day, it's making your life more magical. So if you're always on the lookout for these little oddities, it feels magical, because it's like, wow, my angels and guides went out there and lined that up for me to see, so that I could get this information and make this choice. And then all these things happened as a result of that. It's so magical. And it's like living a fairy tale. It feels wonderful. And it's so helpful, because we're all going to have crappy things happen in our lives. It's just part of the game. We don't learn and expand if we don't have challenges. So when those crappy things happen and you're more aligned with being in the magical state, then you're able to just get through them way faster. It's like you get on that hoverboard and you just slick right through instead of getting stuck, because you've got the tools, you know what to do, you know what action to take to get through it faster and smoother. So highly recommend it. Melinda, bumpiness. What is Metatron's guidance on other people's behaviors? People are expanding, but not everyone is. Yeah, true. And you're going to run into people that, you might be thinking, wow, what's wrong with them? They're really way behind here. And the thing about that is, Melinda, that our souls are all evolving in perfect divine timing for each person. So when we see that, it's different. It might be bothersome for some reason because it's just so foreign to you, you don't understand it. But the thing about it that we're all expanding into this understanding is because we're all on this journey, individual, unique journey, where they are is perfect for them. So we don't need to judge them. If it doesn't resonate with us, then we just don't spend time with them, even if they're family, truthfully. So it's about not surrounding yourself with those people. And sure, you're going to run into them all the time, but you just do a detour and keep going. Bless them and move on. Don't engage with them if they make you feel that way, because they're all at such different places. A few years ago, I ran into this person who I learned later I had past life karma with. He had caused me to be killed as a witch in multiple lifetimes. So there was some weird karmic stuff going on there. And I wasn't awakened enough at that point to know it and head it off. So we went through some really unpleasant stuff. And finally, when I got to the other side of it and realized about all the karma that was there, it was like, wow, now that I know that, I can do a little ceremony. I can clear all that karma, let it go, and say, bye-bye. Never have to run into you in another lifetime again. We are done, over and out. I don't care what that person's doing. That's not up to me. They can still stay connected. They can do what they want, but I'm having no part of it. Over and out, definitely. So, Melinda, thoughts on how to handle P2? I'm drawing a blank. What is P2? Best to hold boundaries, walk away, compassion. Are they tests? Hope this. Oh, so yeah, I think I just answered that. Yeah, I mean, when they don't resonate with you and you have that negative reaction, just don't stay there. Move on, because there are so many amazing people out there that you will resonate and connect with. You don't want to waste your time with those who are in that dissonant energy that's so different from yours, but they need to have their journey as well. So that's why I say bless them and move on, because that puts you in a more powerful energy. You're not feeling negative about them, you're letting it go, disconnecting. Janet, having words come out of your mouth that connect with someone in the group, not knowing where the words come from. Yeah. So when that happens, Janet, that is your channel kicking in. It happens, I would say, probably for everybody, whether they're aware of it or not, because everybody has the ability to channel. So sometimes you'll be talking, and as you said, these words just come out of your mouth, and you're like, who said that? And then it's like kind of embarrassing because you can't take them back. You just said it, and you just kind of have to go with it and pretend you meant to say it. It's really awkward. It happened to me a lot before I realized what it was. And I've met so many people since then who've had that same experience. So when it happens, acknowledge it. Write it down if you can, or grab your phone and record it, because it was some kind of a divine message that just came through you. Those are precious. You want to record them because they are like more of those puzzle pieces or like a treasure hunt. So you get them, you preserve them in some fashion, you keep collecting them. Over time, you'll be able to see the bigger picture that evolves from those messages, because they're never random. They're always purposeful. Now, when they come out of your mouth when you're talking to other people, chances are the message was meant for that other person or people, but there's universal truth in what you're saying because you channeled it. So it's wise to preserve it if you can. Now, you can't always, and if you can't, you can't. But whenever you can, try to record them in some fashion. You will just find it so amazing when you look back over time and see how the pieces do fit together and have expanded what you understand. I look back now at things that I got from my connections with my team back in 2014, and I'm like gobsmacked at what was there that I didn't understand. That now, from this new perspective, having gotten all these lessons in the interim, wow, it makes so much sense. And sometimes, they'll say things to me that I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't even know what that means. Guess what? It's not up to me to know what it means. It's up to me to share it with people. The people who need to get it will get it. Eventually, I'll understand it if I'm meant to. But if it comes through your channel, It's meant for sharing if you feel inclined to share it. Now, you won't feel inclined to share everything, and that's okay. Like in this new book I was telling you about, I documented for you the 21-day process of doing this meditation, 15 minutes every day. So some days I'd sit down to do my meditation and nothing's coming. And so I'm being a little sarcastic and, hey, what's going on? And I recorded all that because I felt it was important for people who are learning to do this, to connect with their guides and angels, to understand that even people who do it pretty regularly still have days where they'll try to connect and nothing comes. And that's okay. The point of the exercise is to make the commitment, to follow through and allow whatever comes through to come through. And by the end of it, so much amazing information came through that now will be in this book so that everybody can benefit from it. So yeah, hope that helps. Okay, Harry's mom, you got the link. Great. Yeah, I thought it was on there. I'm sorry. But it's 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Laura says muscle chesting changed her life. That is so awesome. It's all about empowerment, We're just all needing to be more empowered. And these days, especially, we need all the power that we can get. So it's more stepping more fully into who you are as a soul. And really, we're working towards this oneness principle. One of the meditations that I got with my first book was sitting down with ego, higher self, and soul, having a powwow to make friends with them. Because one day my team said to me, ego doesn't have to be your enemy. I was like, wow, that's a revelation because it always had been. And after we had our little powwow and we worked things out, we came to a compromise, life changed. I got to this place over a period of time where I stopped feeling like I was the ego. I felt like I was the soul. And then it went even another level to where now I feel soul is combined. So it's that oneness principle that we're reaching towards. So when you stop battling with your ego, she or he gets on board with you, things just flow so much easier. Now, you will find if you read that 21-day meditation, the ego makes some smart alecky remarks during this thing. So she's still around. She hasn't disappeared, but it's at a whole different level of interaction than it ever was before. And it's just marvelous. It's this lovely adventure that we're all on, that we're all striving to get better, more connected, the oneness with ourselves, so that then we can experience the oneness with everyone else in the universe. Rachel says, thank you for the crystal question. You needed to hear that. You're going to work more intuitively. Oh, yeah, please. And take that to heart with everything in your life. We have this amazing intuition. We all have this psychic ability. So the more that we learn to tune into it and listen to it, the faster and the better it gets. So it behooves all of us to do that. And if you take a course with somebody, you respect them and you follow their rules, you try doing it their way. But I found, at least inevitably, there will be parts of what they taught that just do not resonate for me. And then I have to honor my own intuition and shift that part of it, at least, into the way that works best for me. And over time, that's proven to be the wise choice because it's opened so many doors. It's like going from living in a box to knocking down all the walls and having no barriers and no limitations. And don't we all want that? Right? So question everything these days. When somebody tells you this is the way it's got to be, that's probably their limiting belief. It doesn't have to be your limiting belief. So it's always good to periodically re-examine your beliefs, because what if you have been holding yourself back with limiting beliefs that had nothing to do with you? It's time to throw them all off. Storm Cloud, the explanation makes you smile. You doused a water well. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah. And you can do that because it's just an energetic connection. You're just feeling for the energy. Yeah. It's one of those beautiful things that used to be commonplace that, kind of disappeared. But, that skill might become even more valuable moving into the future as water starts to become scarce. I hope that it won't, but all signs are that it will at some point. So, that's why the Native Americans were so involved in being water protectors. They understand that the water is so crucial to all of our lives and to the life of the planet. So, yeah, keep practicing with that because that's a beautiful skill. Thank you for the love, Cosmic Toga Party. Um, Time to shine. The angels are showing you to practice spiritual alchemy. That's wonderful. Yeah, do more of that. And Google it and see what it means. But also go to Facebook, look up, I think it's Soul Shine Sisters Alchemy, something like that. Soul Shine something. Maybe it's Soul Shine Alchemy Sisters, something like that. Anyway, but look that up or send me an email if you can't find it and I'll send you the link because it's a terrific group and very metaphysical. So you would really enjoy it. Luis, you are so welcome. Melinda, bless and move on. Yeah. It's so simple and freeing, giving yourself permission to do that, not to get caught up in somebody else's drama because it's just not ours. I was thinking the other day about my mother and how toxic she is. And I feel so sorry for the people who have been ensnared in her web because I decided a number of years ago that she makes me crazy and it's not healthy for me to be around her. So if I have to, I limit it, extremely limited, but I try not to at all. So it's giving myself permission to do that because I don't need that toxic energy. I've got a big purpose here and a mission that I'm trying to live into and it's a big responsibility. I don't need that toxic energy getting in the way. So for all of us, it's giving ourselves that permission to let it go and not have it be in our lives, or at least limit it in some fashion. Oh, thank you, Melinda, for the reminder about hitting the like button. Yeah, we got 19 of them so far, so that's pretty cool. And time to shine, you get chills when you channel. Yeah, because you're so tuned in. Yeah, it'll just keep happening. And it gets better and better the more you do it. So, yeah. And if you can do it like on a frequency schedule, just a few minutes every day will change your life. Metatron's been saying that to me for years, but I still don't do it because, you know, life gets in the way and I don't always do it. But doing that 21-day commitment really um, crystallized it for me, how important it is. And I've got a whole bunch more research that I've been given the assignment to do. So I got to get my butt in gear and do that. So, yeah, absolutely. Ella K. Oh, Ella, I'm not doing personal questions on this call. This is just kind of general and metaphysical questions. If you're on my mailing list, you'll get an invitation to my third Saturday of the month Zoom call that we do live, and I do personal questions there for my tribe. So love to have you join us there. Luis asks if I'm a starseed and what's my home planet. Yes, my home planet is Alpha Centauri. It's kind of a weird group of people. They tend to be a little on the unemotional side, which was really interesting to find that out because I'd noticed that about myself and I didn't understand it. So learning about my planet was really hugely freeing and understanding. And I have found that I've been able to tap more into that emotional side because that's part of my learning journey to do that, to be more connected to people where I did feel some kind of disconnection for a really long time. And truly, probably everybody on this call is a starseed because the people who are originators from Earth just do not get into this metaphysical stuff. They're way too grounded and pragmatic people. So, most likely, everybody on the call is a starseed. And there are 22 planets in the teaching that I've received. I think there are more, but I've only learned about 22. So that's one of the projects that I have coming up to delve more deeply into what I already know about these planets and the characteristics of the people from them, as well as to find out if there's any more. Because I've found through years of doing my soul introduction readings that when I'm in the midst of delivering a reading with somebody, often I'll get these hits and I'll get downloads of more information about their gift or their planet or their soul specialty. So I've been cataloging all of that and adding it to the original body of information. So it's constantly expanding. There's always more to learn. And in fact, one of my gifts is researcher. And originally when this material was put together, research didn't exist. So I'm thinking to myself, what about the people who were researchers? What did you call them? I guess they got labeled with whatever the next highest gift was, because we have all 8 of them, but we have them in smaller proportions to our primary gift. So I've got both the primary and secondary. So I'm assuming that had I had a reading before the extra gift got added, I just would have been classified as the secondary, which would have fit, but it would have left out this whole bunch of information that's really vital for me to understand about the way that I operate and function. So I feel that that's true about the planets, but I don't know until I get in and do the research. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully that'll be coming down the road later this year after I get through these books that are on the way right now. And Janet says, the words come out, it's to protect the underdog or discrimination. You have a story to share, but it's lengthy. Oh, cool. So write it and send it to me, Janet. That would be awesome. I would love to read it. Maybe we can figure out how to share it with everybody. Be really wonderful. Yeah, and that makes sense. Probably if we looked into the way that your schematic is put together, it would make perfect sense that you feel that need to stand up and protect those who are weaker than you are. So Kimberly, bring the question about Melchizedek to the Zoom call on the third Saturday. Delighted to answer that for you. Melinda Dutcher, a week ago, you went to a friend you haven't seen in 20 years, and this friend came. Somehow you thought you had all been sisters and were burnt as witches. You probably did have that experience, Melinda. If you felt it, usually that kind of thing doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's when you got together, there was that energetic resonance that you recognized each other. And yeah, I mean, and the thing is, we get those hits and we often dismiss them thinking that we just made it up. We're imagining things, and so often we're not. It's connecting with that past life memory. Sometimes you'll get them in dreams. A while back, Metatron told me that deja vu is actually a flash of past life memory. And it's like, oh, that is so cool. I wish I'd known that sooner, because that explains a lot. Because those things come and they feel so real, but you really can't connect them to anything. And if you knew that they were a past life memory, then you'd probably write it down and maybe do a little more investigation to get the rest of the story. Like I have had just spontaneous past life memories come when I'm in a meditation, or sometimes when I'm talking to somebody, if there's a connection. So the weirdest one I had is one of my friends. I got in this meditation, this vision of us looking at each other, eyeball to eyeball. We were zygotes. We were twins in the womb and we were looking at each other. That was weird. And so I just got that flash. And then I had this knowing that that pregnancy never came to term. So we never got a chance to spend that lifetime together, which is what brought us together in this lifetime, because we had karma to resolve. So things like that will happen. It's just the oddest thing. And when they do, make a note of it, because probably somewhere down the line, you're going to get more pieces of the puzzle so that it will all start to make sense. And again, that's where the magic comes in. When you are always on the lookout for those breadcrumbs, for those little blasts and bursts of thoughts and ideas and inspirations, and then you take action on them, you just get into this really beautiful energetic flow. And Metatron said that 2021 is the year of flow and ease. And then I think about, well, okay, you just got done telling us we're going to have a really bumpy month in July. And it's like, okay, got it. It makes sense. Because it is going to be so challenging, we need to be practicing our flow and ease so that we can surf through that, what do you call it? The tsunami. Surf the tsunami that's coming and not get bowled over by it. Because it was back in 2017, Metatron gave me the very first message. And he said it was about the cosmic wave of transformation. We either needed to learn how to surf it, or we would get, bowled over by it, washed away. And that's what we're working towards, is developing that beautiful, strong foundation so that we can stand and then step up and surf that cosmic wave to not get bowled over. You're so welcome, Kimberly. Look forward to seeing you. Yeah, what I really love about the Zoom is that we can see each other, and it makes it a whole different level of interaction, which is why it's so perfect for doing the personal questions. Melinda says, is this about being burnt as witches? So bring that on the third Saturday, Melinda. We'll ask about that and see what we can find out. You can ask me about the ladies, and we can verify whether they were indeed with you and if that was your fate. Maybe even get a little more information about it. Time to Shine, you don't have Facebook, but you can Google. Awesome. Okay, so here's what you do. Go on YouTube, look for Linda Lang, Lang, Thought Change. I think the name of her channel is Thought Change, but if you look for all of that, you'll find it. And if you have trouble, just shoot me an email. I'll send you the link. Be glad to connect you. Um, and Time to Shine, you don't feel like you belong here, that you were made to come back. You were content doing your thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people feel that way, but the truth is, you chose to come and incarnate into this body. You're not forced to. That's always a choice. So what happens is we come, and some of us have this really crappy life sometimes, and we think, I'm never going to do this again. I'm done incarnating. But then we go into the spirit, leave the body behind, and it's not as exciting. It's a whole different experience. Yeah, there's plenty to do there because you got soul school and you've got all the people to catch up with. You've got the things that you want to study that went wrong from the past life that you want to fix in the next one. You're so incredibly busy, plus just having a good time because you get to do that too. But then there comes a time when it's like, oh, you're just itching to get back into a body again because that's where the more visceral, delicious experience happens. And that's just the way it is. So, yeah, you feel like you don't belong here, which could mean, probably does, that you're from another planet. Some souls from other planets feel that very deeply. Some of them don't resonate with the gravity on Earth and they find it really hard to navigate. So there's a whole wide spectrum of things that can happen from various planets that make you feel out of place here. And understanding there's a reason for that gives you so much peace and comfort because it's like, oh, I get it. I'm always looking at the stars because that's where I came from and I kind of miss it. That happens for a lot of people. So that understanding is really important. But most likely that's what it's about for you, that you feel a little foreign here because it's a different environment. Maybe it's the gravity, as I said, it could be other things too. So just look around for simpatico people. You will probably find there are others from your planet in close proximity to you that you could connect with if you were tuned into that energy, if that were your intention. So that could be a really fun experiment to lean into. Think about that. Let me know. Time to shine. What does it mean if you're born with life number 33? Oh, well, 33 is a master number. If you haven't already, you should look up what that means. I don't off the top of my head know what it means, except 33 is really a powerful, important number. So it probably means, yes, you did have a greater purpose. And, like I have 11s for both my birthday and my name, which is really interesting. So I've got those double 11s going on, which are master numbers. And then you look at the path my life has taken, and yeah, it makes a whole lot of sense. But master numbers, yeah, there usually is something more higher level purpose going on there. So I would definitely research that and also just meditate on it, lean into your intuition, see what it feels like to you, see what you can get, because you've got that ability to tap into your intuition and ask questions. And I'll tell you, yes, you can have other people do it for you, but when you learn to do it for yourself, oh my gosh, it changes everything. Because often I'll run into something in my work or writing, and it's like, oh, gosh, I don't know what to do. I'm really stuck. And I think, oh, I'll go, ask one of my mentors about it. And then I kind of get like this little tap on my shoulder. It's like, excuse me, you got Metatron right here. Why do you need to go asking somebody? And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, right. I didn't even think about that. Duh. No, I won't say duh. Erase, erase, erase. I didn't think about that. And so it's like a reminder, oh, just ask Metatron for guidance. And then all of a sudden, the pieces fall into place, and I know exactly what to do, which is what just happened to me last week when I was not getting that book done and not knowing what the next step was. And it was like all of a sudden, I just realized, wow, I haven't been asking for guidance on what I need to do next to get this project moving. And then all of a sudden, the walls all fell down, the energy just started flowing, and bam, the book was nearly done in that one day. It was amazing. So let me get back. Rebecca, you love the concept of the video. Do you know why the source universe developed itself into duality and multiple objects? Why does it have to go through that to get back to oneness? Oh, well, let me get a quick drink. I haven't really probed, although, the creation stories about how we separated from divine, divine never separated from us. But if you think about what we've learned and what we understand and have felt, in order to expand, we needed to go out into the world and have these experiences, which we are all collectively feeding back to Creator. So, Creator is expanding their consciousness through our experiences. So, if you think of it like Creator is this main computer hub, and we are all satellite networks connected to each other and to Creator. So we're all having these experiences. It's all getting fed back into the main hub, which is then available to all the other satellites. So we're all collectively sharing this information. We're energy, we've got forever to exist. We've got to do something to occupy us and to allow us to expand and have this exciting experience. So I think it's really about that. And duality in and of itself is not a bad thing because polarity is real. It's scientific. You've got to have both sides of something, which I think feeds into the whole duality thing. So it's just really about expansion, and then we get to choose what we do with it. So yeah, we went out like these little satellites on our journeys to learn, to absorb information and bring it back to the collective. And in the doing, there was that separation. Some of us really had a long, difficult struggle of, wandering in the wilderness, probably for many lifetimes, before we got to a place of expanded consciousness and desire to come back, to connect with the creator of all again. So it's like going out, having your experience, and then realizing you miss that connection. You want it back, but now you've been disconnected for so long, at least partially, that it takes a while to get back there. And truly, I don't know if we're ever going to be 100% there, because then wouldn't it be done? Or maybe there's a whole other level that we just move up to and start all over doing another cycle. I don't know. It's a big question. It's one I will contemplate, and if I get more, I'll let you know. Probably more than I can go into, right now on this call. But yeah, it's a fascinating question, Rebecca. Thank you for asking. Harry's mom, do you have a method of asking a food or supplement if it's good for your body? Yeah. Body dowsing, really awesome. So, like, I use this even when I go to the supermarket. So, the way you do it is like if you want to pick a supplement, maybe you're choosing between two, three, four, whatever. So, you pick them up one at a time and you hold them in front of your solar plexus. You can even deliberately not look at the label so that you are not swaying your results. You want to put your feet a little bit apart so that you're standing firm, and then just hold that there in front of your belly button, and then just ask the question, is this whatever, in the highest and best good for my body? Is this the most optimal choice? Is this even something I need? You can ask a lot of different ways, and so you'll play with that to figure out what works best for you, but then go through all of them. Now here's the other thing about it. Once you presumably get a yes as to this is the most optimal one, presuming one of them is, you might want to ask if any of them are, because it could be none of them are. Then you want to think about combinations, because sometimes they're better in combination than they are by themselves. And this is just something I figured out after playing with this when I was doing a lot of that kind of thing with my horses. I was doing rehab with lame horses. So I was experimenting with lots of different things. And sometimes I found the combination was way more powerful than any of the individual pieces. And I could use the dowsing for that. So when I did it for the horses, now that's a surrogate, right? So you can do it for a person. So I would just put my hand on the horse and then I would do the body dowsing. So if you go forward, that's yes. If you go backward, it's no. And if you just kind of, bounce in the middle a little bit, then it's neither yes nor no. So it could go either way, and probably it's a no, right? If you're not getting a yes, you got to kind of figure out what you want that to mean for you. But yeah, use that. I use it when I go pick up produce all the time. It's really fun because, watermelons, right? How hard is it to pick a really good sweet watermelon sometimes? So, you knock on them, pick the one you like the best, hold it in front of your neighbor and ask, is this the sweetest, most juiciest, best watermelon that's in this box? Let's see what happens. See if you can find the sweetest one that you're going to really enjoy. And it doesn't have to be the sweetest in the box. It could be, is this one I will really enjoy because it's sweet and juicy? So play with the words, figure out what works for you. But it's a lot of fun. And most of the time, what I bring home with me ends up being really delicious. So it's fabulous because how many times did you pick something up and you get back and you find out, oh, it's just not really all that good? So it's fun. Melinda, dreams can be past lives too. Yeah, absolutely. Because that's just another way for your guides to get through to you. So if you remember them, sometimes you're going to get snippets. And that's a great thing to use your dowsing for. You could douse and you could say, is this story from my dream based on a past life experience? That would be a really cool thing to douse on. Janet, you feel connected? Thank you. I'm so delighted. I feel connected to all of you because, when we do this, we're connecting our energy soul to soul, and it's so beautiful and so expansive. You just it's I think it energizes all of us. I know it energizes me because that divine energy is coming down and through and out, and we're all sharing it with each other. That's why it's so important to do these things, and that's why I'm going to be doing this every month, because it's just another way that we can connect and spread the love and the light further and faster. So that's what it's about. Melinda, would that be why you're in fear? It's not healthy to fear fire, or is it to come? Hmm. Well, I think it's sensible to fear fire in terms of like forest fires, if that's what you're talking about. That's just wise. But you know what you can do? You can call upon your guides and angels to help you erect a force field around you and your property and ask them to keep you safe. They will do that for you. You still take precautions and you do the wise thing, right? Just in case you got it wrong. But very often, if you do that, if you take the time to ask, they will find a way to help you accomplish what you ask for, because the answer is always yes. It just sometimes comes in a different way than what we anticipated. So it might not be that, yes, they're able to totally save your property. Maybe there's something bigger at play and that can't happen, but they can certainly make sure that you get out of there safely. So, it can happen. There are many permutations, but ask and ask and ask for those sorts of things because it's really important. It's just like I think I told you last month, when I get in my car, I ask Metatron to activate my protective shield. And I wish I had done that the day that we encountered the deer, because maybe that wouldn't have happened. But I forgot that day because we were so embroiled in our political discussion. So I forgot. But nearly every time I get in the car, I ask for that because so many things can happen. And why not? It's free to ask, it's extra insurance. So ask it about anything you can imagine that you need help with. And that gets really fun too, because then you get to see how they answer, what they do, how it all comes together. And it's more excitement to add to your life. And every day you can do that, add that joy, wonder, and delight to the equation, is a good day. And it's one step closer to coming into that place of oneness, connection, even more joy, even better, because it's always this or something better. That's what we're all doing here. Time to shine. You got it. Awesome. Sharon, so good to see you here, Sharon. Oh, I just lost you. Hang on, it bounced on me. Okay. Melinda, is it a metaphysical reason to be in pain the majority of your life? That's a great question. Let me just ask. I'm feeling like that's a no, because no, think about this from the spiritual perspective, Melinda. Creator did not send you here to be in pain. Now, karmically, you might have brought energy with you that attracted whatever that it is that's causing the pain. And it was a lesson that you wanted to work through in this lifetime. Just like I incarnated into a situation that was full of victimization. So, there was physical, sexual, mental abuse that happened when I was very young and even into young adulthood. So, part of my journey this lifetime was learning how to step out of victim energy to assert myself and not allow that to happen ever again, because I'm a sovereign soul. I don't need to do that, and I don't deserve it. Just like you don't deserve to live in pain. So, some meditation on what is really the source of this pain. What can you connect the dots to? And that's something we can talk about on the third Saturday as well. Maybe we can find something there. There's always an answer when you dive in and really probe for it, Melinda. So there's something there to be learned. And once you get it, then you presumably can step out of that pain, because that's not what Creator or your team wants for you. They want you to thrive. You came into this life to thrive, but sometimes there's a lot of work to get there. It's like one time I asked them, why would anybody choose to incarnate as a Native American? And this was during the time when, the pipeline was going through and they were being victimized all over again. And oh, I got rebuked immediately. Don't you judge their choices. They knew what they were doing. The people who incarnated into those lives had a deep desire to be involved at that level with protecting the earth and helping to enlighten others, to bring them to a new state of awareness where they realize that we only have this one planet here. We really ought to take care of it and honor it because it deserves that. You know, Mother Earth is taken care of us and given us a place to be and expand all of our lives. And don't we owe something back to her? So these people who chose that for this lifetime did it very deliberately. And it dishonors them if we feel sorry for them. So understanding that, it's like, wow, massive. Now we can honor them for making that choice. We can thank them for making that choice that actually helps all of us. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense and gives you some light there to work on, Melinda. Storm Cloud, is there going to be a drastic change in the way we live on the planet as it seems we're living unsustainably? How can we keep coming back and not make a change? Well, we have to make a change. You're right. Absolutely. But did you notice during the pandemic when people had their activities constrained, how rapidly Earth started regenerating? All sorts of miracles were happening all over the place where we just gave her that much space and she started repairing on her own. That was a massive lesson for all of us at how rapidly she can heal if we give her the space. So I don't think that we have to be terribly worried. I think we need to be responsible, realizing that we owe her a lot. We need her. So it would be wise, if we want to continue existing, to take care. And that can look like a lot of different things. So we need to all work towards it in whatever way feels best to us. It's an individual decision, because we are sovereign souls. So there's nothing like divine saying you have to do this. That doesn't happen. It's what feels best to you. How can you contribute? And when enough people come together and start doing that, it will make change. Now, we've got Greta Thunberg leading this whole movement of people being more aware of the earth. That's a special assignment that she took on. And it's amazing. Just honor and bless her for that because it's so important. But yeah, I've also been told that God will not let man destroy the earth. So that's been promised. Something will intervene to keep that from happening. Guides and angels are all the time getting in and making little tweaks here and there to prevent those disasters from happening. So we know that to be true. That brings us back to our personal responsibility. So all of us doing the best that we can, sharing it with others, allowing it to spread across the land. That's the sonic boom that Metatron talked about in that recent message, that when we get enough people doing this consciously, it will reach critical mass. And when it hits critical mass, that's when, boom, it flows across the entire planet. And that is the catalyst for moving us into the new golden age. So that's what we're working towards. And each one of us has a very important role to play. So we all do it. We don't know the timeline. We can speed it up if more people get involved, or it can slow down if fewer people get involved. So that's why it's so important that all of the light workers get out there and share the message to as many people as possible. Janet, your children were born on the same day of the month, and your sister? Interesting. Yeah. I don't know, if there's some significance about that. There might be. I mean, it could just be kind of a God wink, it's a fun thing, and they chose to do that for some reason. That would be a fun thing to douse on, to find out, did they all plan that before they came? I don't know. Maybe there was a particular reason they all wanted to be born at that time because of the energies that would get encoded in their soul. Because, astrologically, there are aspects that get encoded into that particular person based upon when they were born. So it could be that, because, that's going to change every time you're born. Unlike your soul gift, the soul schematic, that stays the same through every single lifetime, never changes. So yeah, there's a lot to be delved into there, and I think it would be a really cool dowsing assignment for you to find out. Rebecca, you're so welcome. Harry's mom, you can't imagine going into a grocery store and holding a watermelon. It's fun. I just lost your message. Hang on. Yeah, it's fun. Sometimes people will ask you what you're doing, and then you can tell them. And then it's like, oh, maybe they'll get curious and want to learn too, and you can share the wisdom and the fun. But yeah, I mean, you're doing it for yourself. So even if people look at you and think you're weird, who cares? It's about you and what's best for you, and of course, your family if you're shopping for your family. So don't let that stop you. Go for the very best because you deserve it. Amy says, thank you. You're so welcome. So glad you were here. Sharon, thank you for welcoming everybody. That's so beautiful. I really appreciate that. Janet, you're teaching your grandkids to believe in magic, and it makes life so much more magical. Yeah, it does. The funny thing is, when I was a kid, there were all the Disney movies, and there was that kind of a feeling of magic about life. But somewhere along the way, that seems to have gotten lost. So here we are now, coming full circle and realizing that we were right all along. Life is magical, and we can embrace it again. We can create it for ourselves and for those we love and those around us. It's perfectly normal and possible. In fact, it's desirable because it just makes the whole journey more exciting. And when you're excited like that, the energy revs up and you accomplish even more. So it's just a really practical and beautiful thing that we can do for ourselves and for others. And Melinda's been teaching her nieces. Yeah, I've got to watch that. It's so amazing. And when you think about teaching the kids this at that young age and facilitating for them a lifelong understanding of the magic that can be part of their life, they're going to have such a different experience. And it's not going to be all that long before they're going to be the adults running the country. And, we're going to be slowing down. So we'll be darn grateful that we taught them that so that they can create a different world than what we're in right now. That's exciting. Melinda, you agree about the collective energy? Yeah. So you're dowsing along with the questions. That's awesome. Great way to use it. Melinda, thank you about the victim stuff. Okay. Your body about broke in half. Yeah, well, what I do know, Melinda, is that our creator gave us these miracle bodies that can heal themselves of just about anything. They're constantly rebuilding, creating new cells. I think at some point we're going to actually be able to regenerate parts of ourselves. So it's just learning, getting into tune with that, expecting it, because if we don't expect it, we're not going to get it. If we don't believe it, we're not going to get it. I think our bodies have so much more in them than we've yet to realize. So it's leaning into that. It's taking good care of them, finding more harmonious, balanced ways to deal with them. Like insulin. Insulin causes your insulin to spike, and it does the exact opposite thing that it was intended to do. So that's why they tell diabetics that this is a disease you can manage, but you're never going to get rid of, which is not true. There are people every day who are finding ways to change their diets, change the way that they live, the products that they use to heal from all manner of things, including insulin. It's totally possible. But if you are in that, tunnel vision paradigm of modern medicine, you haven't been taught that. You don't believe that. It's not possible. They're in their little limitation box, but we don't have to be there. For myself, I've run into a number of things over the years that the doctors just couldn't help with. And so I wasn't going to take their drugs and have my life ruined by that. So I went and sought out my own remedies, and some worked, some didn't, but I didn't stop looking because I deserve to be healthy. So it's all out there for us. We have to advocate for ourselves now. But you can absolutely do that. Do not stop looking, Melinda, because full, robust health should be available to every one of us. We just have to find the magic key to have it get there. And it's totally possible. Step at a time. Stormcloud, what is the benefit the human species brings to the planet? Oh, wow, that's a fascinating question. So, what do you want to tell us about that? Uh, in the same way that Gaia nurtures us, we in effect nurture her. Because what would her purpose be if she didn't have all these beings to support? It's in some way, it's like that umbilical cord that we have to divine. We have that coming out of our crown chakra. We have from our root chakra a connection to Mother Earth energetically. So she is feeding us just as she feeds the plants, the trees. So it's all this amazing ecosystem, and we are all working together to expand it. And Earth herself has evolved in the past. She is in an evolutionary period right now. So even though it seems like we're hurting her, I think there's a bigger plan at action. And even though many of our efforts have been detrimental, she's working around it. It's causing her to step things up. And it's causing many of us to change the way that we be so that we can be better stewards of the earth. It's this collective collaboration and cooperation that's part of the oneness. So it's almost like we're doing this dress rehearsal of sorts to get better at it so that in future experiences, we will get there faster. We will do a better job. And then Earth will benefit because the next generations will be more in alignment. It'll be more harmonious. And that's what we're moving to, this new evolution. And that will last for some significant period of time. It's akin to in the Christian Bible when they talked about when Jesus comes the second coming, there's going to be like 1,000 years of peace and prosperity. It feels to me like it's kind of that feeling. So it should last a significant time, but we are ever evolving. There's still more layers. So at some point, we will go out of that and we'll go into an area where more growth, which means more challenges, because growth doesn't happen if we don't have conflict and challenge. I hope that makes sense. Time to shine. You're in Australia, so it's time to start your day. Oh, wow. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. You have a fabulous day, and hopefully, we'll see you again soon. Storm Cloud. Some of the magicians today are unbelievable unless you believe in magic. Yeah. Don't you wonder sometimes if they really are doing some of that stuff? I don't know how they do it. It's amazing to me. But we believe in magic, so anything is possible. Love and hugs from Sharon. Thank you. Right back at you. So delighted you could join us. Janet, you're having a good time. Oh, I'm so glad. And Janet, you guys, is on vacation in Hawaii, and she's taking a break from her vacation to be with us. So thank you, Janet. That is amazing. And I hope you're having a fabulous time. We were on Kauai a number of years ago. Just loved it. It's such a beautiful island, except for those crowing roosters. It was not so fun. 2 o'clock in the morning when they're crowing, but yeah, it's part of the landscape. Storm Cloud. Oh, I got that one. Rebecca, thank you to Storm Cloud for the question. Happy for the answer. It's a relief. Melinda, you call in the medics for your body. Close your eyes and meditate. Yeah. Keep at it. You deserve it. Never give up on yourself, Melinda. Keep looking. There are answers. And I think I told you before, Melinda, I firmly believe in homeopathic remedies, and there's something out there that will help you. So it's just a matter of researching, testing, dowsing, asking for guidance, finding your answers. And what's really significant about that is that once you figure it out for yourself, you'll be able to share it with other people. And just imagine, because there's so much pain and suffering out there, it's time to alleviate that. And of course, there's always energy healing. We can create miracles with energy healing when we tap into it at a deep, significant level. So, yeah, there's so much yet for us to uncover and to share. Storm Cloud, about the answer to the benefit of the earth. Oh, you could feel how she enjoys our admiration. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's so beautiful that you love her so much. Yeah. It is hard when you see she's so vital and she is so amazing. And then you see her being damaged. It really is hard. But, in previous incarnations, we were not even conscious enough to know that. So that's a massive blessing that we've reached this level of consciousness to know that now, to take steps to make it better. Just think about it. I mean, even 20 years ago, I wasn't conscious of those things. Maybe you were more tuned in than me, but my gosh, I was just totally unconscious and unawakened for most of my life. This is rather new for me and so exciting and exhilarating, and it's only getting better. So who knows where we're going? And I don't understand all of this going and exploring other planets before we take care of our home planet and make sure that she's stable and can continue to support us. But yeah, there is more out there. And of course, some of us who are from other planets do have that curiosity. So I don't know where all that's going. And honestly and truly, I'm not all that involved in it because it doesn't personally appeal to me because I've got this other journey that I'm on. But that's what's so remarkable when you look across the land at the people who are involved in all these different things and all bringing their own little part to the party, a piece of the equation that collectively makes a massive difference. So it's so exciting, and I don't know where it's going except just every day to be joy, wonder, and delight. Enjoy the ride. Look forward to even more and greater understanding. Oh, and Melinda said that, yeah, you call the energy medics. Yeah, I got that. It made sense. Okay. Well, I think I'm at the end of the questions. Anybody else have questions? Because I was planning on staying until 9, but if we're out of questions, we can always wrap early. You guys let me know. I sent David away so I could have quiet and peace and have our little conversation. Well, there are 24 people here now, you guys. Thank you so much. That's so wonderful. If you haven't already had a chance to take a look at the last two videos that I posted, one of them was the July 2021 message from Metatron. I've started doing the monthly message just to see because there's so much shifting right now. We need it. And that's the one where Metatron called to the light workers to build that solid foundation. That's an important message to hear. And then the one that I just posted on Saturday is about creating our magical lives, how to create your magical life. So that's a good one to listen to as well, and hopefully inspire you and bring more questions so that we can talk about it and help you to incorporate it into your life in whatever way works for you. Stormcloud, you were raised by Mother Earth. You were one of 12 kids and spent your time in nature. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah. And she was there for you, which is just amazing. You're so welcome, Melinda. I hope your voice is getting better. Melinda's working on an audio book and has to take care of her throat right now. Melinda, you're so welcome. Melinda Dutcher. Stormcloud, you are welcome. Harry's mom, thoughts on the spiritual meaning of the Miami building collapse. Okay, let's just tune into that. What can you tell us? Oh, so the first thing that comes, Harry's mom, is that the people who perished in that building, don't worry about them. Their souls were ready to depart. They would not have been in that building when it collapsed if they weren't. So that's the first thing to know. You know, sometimes we get so upset about the deaths, but when we understand that the soul doesn't leave the body until it's ready, then to me at least, that brings a greater level of comfort and peace. So then it's just about processing your own feelings about them being gone. Yeah, terrible disaster, big wake up call because we know that building was way overdue to have some work done on it. And what is that about? It's about the corporate greed and not putting the money into the infrastructure. So I almost feel like this is connected to the infrastructure plan that they're trying to get passed in Congress right now that Biden wants to do because the country desperately needs it. You know, there are bridges and tunnels all over this country, not to mention buildings that are going to come tumbling down and people are going to die if we don't take care of this. This has been the case for a long time. So it's very, very much needed. It's time to, just like the structure of Mother Earth, right? If we don't take care of it and patch the cracks or build new where it's needed, it's going to fall down. People will die. So it's about being responsible and taking care of those things when we notice them, not putting them off. That's a huge lesson for a lot of us. I know it resonates with me. You know, put things off and put things off until disaster happens. And that's just not a smart thing to do because then it compounds the damage and the emotional impact. So it's a wake up call. I'm worried about the people in the other buildings because they're all on that same shifting sand, so to speak. So I don't know. It feels to me like they ought to evacuate them all out of, you know, an abundance of caution, but that doesn't seem to be happening. So really, all we can do is send them love and positive energy to get through this. But I do think it's a wake up call for all of us to be more aware, more conscious, to speak out, to do what we can to facilitate giving some attention to this infrastructure. Stormcloud, you're so welcome. Kay Williams, you're enjoying the conversation first time. Welcome. So delighted to have you here. So we're going to be doing this every month on the first Monday. And then the people who are on my mailing list, if you're not, go to akashaunleashed.com/VIP. Actually, I'll just type that for you because I send you weekly updates and then you get invited every month to my Zoom call where I do personal readings on the Zoom call. So we do that every month on the third Saturday. You are all most welcome to come. You know, the funny thing about that, I've been doing it for 2 years. You can find the videos on YouTube. And usually we get 20 to 30 people show up. And it's like, I could answer a lot more questions. So we end up, everybody gets to do 2 or 3 rounds of questions because there's plenty of time to do that. So bring it, people. Come get your questions answered. That's what it's for. As I said a few times during this call tonight, you know, it's about us sharing this enlightenment with more people to get that geometric progression so that we can facilitate moving into Earthtopia. So that link I just gave you is for my mailing list if you want to get the Zoom link on the third Saturday to join us. Melinda, you got lots of tea. I'm so glad. Yeah, it is crazy, but you know, it's almost like a God wink to you from the universe not to push it so hard because really and truly, you knew it was a longer book and it is a strain on your body to do that when you're not used to doing it for such an extended period of time. And really, you've got time. You have very wisely scheduled this book launch so that you've got the time to spread it out a little bit. And it's a great lesson, which now you can share with other authors so that they presumably won't have to have that same issue. That never occurred to me when you told me you were going to go and do the whole thing. So, huge lesson. Amy, you've been inspired. It's a comfort and joy. I'm so glad because that's what we're doing here. We're trying to spread love, light, comfort, joy, wonder, and delight, magic, all of that. That's what it can be when we tune in and tap in, as Abraham says, because it's all there for us. And if we're not taking advantage of it, we have no one to blame but ourselves, right? It's all there for us. We just have to ask and then take action when we have inspiration. Oh, thank you, Janet. I feel that. Yeah, it is a beautiful group of souls. So blessed to have all of you here. Shakti, you felt a huge wave of energy the last week or two? Yeah, I think a lot of people are feeling, especially if you're very sensitive. There's one soul group, it's called Polaris, which is the North Star, that's very connected energetically to Earth, of course. So the star seeds from Polaris particularly feel this shifting on Earth, seismic events they're going to feel, volcanoes, all sorts of things. They are, because they're so attuned to the energy of Earth in that way, platelets shifting, they're going to notice those kinds of things. So you might be from Polaris, that might be the reason. But then there are other sensitives who also feel these things too. So between the eclipse and the moons, and I don't know what else was going on, there was a lot energetically that happened over the last month. I think everybody was feeling it, and maybe some of you were feeling more fatigue than usual. I know I was unusually tired the last couple of weeks, just conking out in front of my computer because it's a lot of energy to process as we're moving into this new space. I think it's abating a little bit now. It's feeling better, but expect more of it because there's just more shifting going on. Harry's mom, you felt the same way about infrastructure, but the heartache for the families is cruel. It is, but the thing is, like I said, those souls were going to leave their bodies regardless, whether it was a disaster like that or, something else that happened. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like if we can teach more people that, it will help them in some way to process their grief a little bit faster and I don't know, just less devastating when they were going to go anyway. Yeah, it's horrendous to think about. But on the other hand, as a way to exit your body goes, probably most of them were asleep. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. And it happened so fast. I mean, if you gotta go, fast is I would think better. That quick exit so that there's no awareness of the trauma, because I can't imagine they had any time to even process trauma. It was just like bam, gone. It's sad that their bodies are buried under the rubble, but they're not in those bodies. They don't need them anymore. And their souls are still around, lingering near their loved ones, trying to bring them comfort. And I think when people have losses, especially traumatic losses like that, if we can help them to understand that their loved ones are nearby, that can bring them comfort because not everybody knows that. A number of years ago, one of my dear friends died quite young, and I was asked to do the eulogy, which is, oh my gosh, never done that before. And how am I going to do that? It was so hard. Somehow I got the strength to get through it. But she was at the funeral. I saw her. And that was before I had my awakening. I saw her. So she wanted to be seen. She was there mingling with all the people, just enjoying all the loved ones that came to send her off. It was just such an amazing thing. And I'll bet you that happens a lot more than we realize. They're always around. We can call them to us. We can talk to them. We can connect with them. And on my website, I do have that meditation. It's called Connecting with Guides. So if you go to akashaunleashed.com and go to the meditations tab, you can get that meditation. Now, it's intended to take you into your Akashic records where you connect with one of your guides. You can touch them, you can talk to them, you can do whatever you want. I mean, if you want to hug them, you can do that. So, what I tell people who are dealing with this grief, get that meditation. And when you get to the point where you're seeing your guide, instead call forth your loved one who you're missing. Have that connection with them. It is so comforting if you can do that. And this meditation will lead you right through the steps of doing it. Now, the thing you need to do is don't judge the experience. Allow it to happen like it's a dream. It is real. They are there for you. They are bringing you that love and comfort. If you can suspend your disbelief and allow yourself to have that experience. That was a channeled meditation, and it's a beautiful gift for people who need that little bit of extra help. You felt the fatigue, Melinda? Yeah, I'll bet you did. Well, you've got a lot you're processing anyway. So, on top of all that, it's a lot to ask. But that 15-minute meditation, or even if it's just 2 to 5 minutes, that will help a lot for anybody who's feeling that. Just give yourself that gift of pausing, doing the deep belly breaths, connecting for just a few minutes, feeling that energy pouring into your body, the vital force energy that's going to rejuvenate you, re-energize you. You can have that anytime you want it, whenever you feel a little depleted. Just 2 minutes. Give yourself that gift. Go to the filling station, the divine filling station. Get a recharge. Shakti, you felt the energy shift since you were a child. I thought you did. I just had this feeling that you were probably a Polarian. Yeah. Yeah. When you're that deeply connected to Earth, there's usually a reason. You're not alone. You should know that. There are other people who experience those same things. Some, more intensely, some less. But there's that connective thread that the Polarians have. And Melinda, you feel like your body falls an inch in layers, and your doctor thought you were nuts. Your body falls, and I think we talked about this before, and I'm trying to remember what it was we got from that. Something to do with the energy, though, and doing, if you could give yourself that gift, if you're not already, Melinda, just once a day, 5 minutes. 10 would be better, but five will work. To do that filling station, fill yourself up. I'm feeling like that's going to lift you up. So instead of falling down, collapsing, you're going to be floating, almost levitating with that energy. And that would be really good for the pain that you're feeling as well. Because, it's like, okay, so what I'm seeing is like your body collapsing on itself, which is putting pressure on your vertebrae, right? On the cervicals and the vertebrae. So the lifting up of the energy is going to help take that pressure off. And you can do that. So ask for that and see if that helps a little bit, because that's just what I got for you. Harry's mom, when you were 8, your brother died and you were horrified to see him put in the ground covered with dirt. Yeah. And you saw him a week later. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, what a gift he gave you. Yeah. It's hard for kids, because we have this taboo thing in our culture where we don't talk about death. And so that makes it big, scary monster. And really, it's not. It's just moving from one level of beingness to another. And knowing you're coming back, you're going to connect with your loved ones. You move on as energy. It just continues. And you can come back, connect with those who are here whenever you want. The hard part is getting them to know that you're there, to feel it. And that's how, if we share this with more people, pass the message along, we can help so many people to find peace with the death experience, because they know it's not a disconnect. That connection never goes away. It's always there. My grandma was like the most precious person in the world to me. And she died when I was like, I don't know, in my early 20s. So most of my life she's been gone, but I can connect with her anytime I want. And the funny thing is, when I was able to do that, and I knew that, I did it. I connected with her a few times. I didn't need to anymore, because I felt peace from having that connection, from being able to talk to her and ask her questions. And then it was done. And then there's other people to talk to. So it's amazing how much peace and comfort that little connection can bring you. It's so huge. So if we can share that with more people, that would be an amazing blessing, because look at all the people who are in grief and turmoil in the world. And if we can help them to feel better, that's going to spread to other people, and a lot of healing can take place. Because, many of the things that are wrong with this world are just because people are in so much pain and fear. They just don't know what to do. We don't have to be in pain and fear because we're connected. When you're connected, the pain and fear just goes away. Shakti, you felt alone, but you're now enjoying people being awake. Yeah, it's so marvelous. It's such a different experience, just even the last 10 years than it was before. This awakening is just so marvelous, and it's only going to get better. Yeah, there's going to be, some rough spots, which what Metatron was talking about for July, because there are going to be some who are dragging their heels and fighting against it. They don't want the light to win. They kind of like it the way it is with all the chaos and turmoil and being able to control others, but they're not going to win. They ultimately will have to surrender because we will be greater in numbers and intention and love than they will. We will prevail. Kathy, you've been visited by spirits and they're calling your name. Oh, cool. You heard children giggling. Uh, so it doesn't matter if you see them or not. I rarely see them. My friend was like astonishing to me because I don't think I'd ever seen a departed person before. So that was very special. But you can hear them, you can feel their presence. And that happened also when my dogs passed. I could call their spirit to me. Sapphire, who was, very special, we lost her in September. She used to come when I was doing these lives, and she would put her nose on my knee while I was channeling. And so after she was gone, she did it again. She was there. She was still there. She wanted me to know she was there. So with all living things, we still have that connection. We don't have to miss them and fall into that grief and distress because they're still with us. So just knowing that, allowing ourselves to feel it, understand it, it's so comforting and so much peace comes from that. Melinda, you did one today. Awesome. And you feel the volcanoes too? And it's going to be huge. Yeah, a lot of people are saying that. I think Sheila was talking about that too. People running towards you. Yeah, it's going to be scary, but here's the other thing about that. Just as we talked about, if they're not meant to perish in that event, they won't. They will find a way to get away. They won't be there. They will be far enough away that they survive. All sorts of things will happen. So, and it's like plane crashes where people die. If your soul isn't ready to depart, something will keep you from getting on that plane, or you'll miraculously survive. So you only go when you're ready. And that's, I find that very comforting. So, Amy, you'd love to share the alchemy on oneness with more, but you don't think the ones you want to share it with want to hear it. Makes them uncomfortable. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of people who are not ready. So the thing is, you share it freely with love. They either take it or they don't. The ones who aren't interested, like I don't know if you're familiar with the stories of Jesus, but it's like he was talking about, those who don't want to hear what you have to say, you wipe the dust off your feet and you leave. You don't stay there. You don't force it on them. So you just move on and you find your tribe, those people who want to hear and are happy to hear what you have to share. So for all of us, and there's a lot of peace that comes with that. So it's like, you meet a group of people and you're enthusiastic and you start sharing and they shut you down. Okay, thank you, bless them and move on. That's all. Don't stay there and be uncomfortable and unhappy because you're depriving the next group who want to hear from you when you stay with that other group. So it's always about just keep that forward momentum going, sharing with those who want to hear. Melinda, you want to connect to understand. I can't do that on the call right now, Melinda, but yes, I will. I'll see if I can get what you're trying to say. Living in gratitude is important. Love and peace from Janet. Thank you, Janet. It is. That's part of the magic formula. And once we all get that, it will change everything. Kathy, your dog passed on Halloween. Oh, sorry. It's so hard. And she lays on your legs when you recline and curls up with you. Yeah. They will do that as long as we need them to bring us that comfort. It's remarkable. You do Reiki on animals and she sits on your feet. Oh, that's so beautiful. And if you haven't already, Kathy, write about that or make videos about it. Share that story with people because you just never know who that story will reach and bring comfort and inspiration to. Because so many people don't know this is possible. Or if they felt it, they just think they're crazy and they dismiss it. They don't allow themselves to have the comfort that their pet is trying to bring or their loved one if it's a person. All right, you guys, where we're at 9 o'clock. So I think we're going to wrap. Any last comments or questions before we call it a night? So much love and gratitude to all of you for being here. It's such a blessing. And this replay will be available so that other people can hear it and perhaps be inspired, be comforted, and be blessed from the questions that you brought so that we could share that information with the world. And that's what we're all about, just trying to, one person at a time, share the love and light. So thank you all. Okay, much love to everyone. See you soon. Don't forget, third Saturday on Zoom. Hope to see you all there. And if you want to do the Learning to Read Your Akashic Records, starting on Thursday. Hope to see some of you there. Okay, bye for now. Of course, now I have to figure out how to end this thing, so that'll take me a minute.